All right, y'all, welcome to another episode of Music in the Minor League. This week we're joined by Robert Johnson of Stars and Satellites. Stars and Satellites started out as a solo studio project. Robert released an album called Solutions in 2007 and then took a sabbatical from music before returning and releasing a few singles. Both of them you'll hear as bookends for this episode. I've personally known Robert for quite a few years. I've known him since he started the project, and he's recently taken to leaving the studio and doing live performances over the last year plus. So now that he's out in public playing shows and getting kind of changing the trajectory of the band and the presentation, we figure we would give him a chance to come in and tell us all about what he's been up to. So before we get to the interview though, a few things we got to get out of the way. One, if you like the podcast, make sure you tell a friend about it. Help us get the word out. It's the best way to support all the independent artists we talk to. Number two, if you want to be on the podcast, hit us up. We'd love to talk to you. Our only prerequisite is that you have a couple of songs recorded. Third, housekeeping for Brightwire. We're not really doing anything right now. We're doing a duo show September 6th at Mod Coffee House, and that's it really until November. So not much going on out there on our end. So we'll cut through it all and we'll just get straight to the episode. This is a live from Stars and Satellites. It's a single release in 2023. You'll hear about what Robert's got coming up in the episode. See you on the other side. Later.
Gonna feel alive.
All right, y'all, welcome to another episode of Music in the Minor League. This week we're joined by Robert Johnson of Stars and Satellites, a local, what we call it, like goth, dream pop kind of. Well, I don't know, what do you refer to Stars and Satellites as?
It's a fascinating question. I mean, yeah, it started as goth, and if you were to go back, in time to when I first started recording, I would probably classify myself as that, but it's something different now. Ever since getting out and playing live, it's turned into more of like an ambient acoustic pop kind of thing with goth roots. But yeah, there's no one genre it fits into, I would think, but it's uniquely me.
Yeah, it's definitely grown over time. Well, anyway, to get it out of the way early, me and Robert have known each other for a very long time. I've known Robert since he was just a recording artist, and now I know Robert now that he is a performing artist, and we're still recording artists, but it's been a while.
And I've known Sam since he was my friend, and now, one of my best friends. So yeah, it was that journey.
Which has been exciting because when I first, got to know Robert, he was doing just solely recording, and now he's like moved into finally, getting out and playing live.
Yeah, I want to say when I first met Robert, it was because you were helping him with some stuff. You guys were recording some stuff together, or like working on something together?
Yeah, there's files all over the place of songs like we've started, never finished.
We'll go
any
back
artist.
to it. Every now and then. Oh yeah, no kidding. We'll go back to him every now and then, send each other something like, "Hey, apparently we did this. Do you remember anything about this?" And it's like, it sounds so cool.
Did we finish this? It sounds finished.
So it's been cool, man. It just go back and kind of see the movement from, just recording and releasing albums to, now performing live. But before we jump all the way to now, I guess the best thing to start with, like always, man, is what got you started into music? What got you, what'd you initially start doing to get into it?
Well, I guess we'll go back to when I started playing the guitar. And growing up, I listened to primarily three bands, the Chameleons, Zymox, and Peter Murphy. And these are three post-punk, early 80s, actually even into the 90s, goth bands, which are still around today. I don't know that any of them would label themselves as goth anymore, although Peter Murphy of Bauhaus is considered the godfather of goth.
Yeah.
But I also listened to heavy metal, like real heavy metal, like Iron Maiden. I got into guitarists like Joe Satriani and Yngwie Malmsteen. And as I'm learning these songs, something like Joe Satriani wrote like Summer Song or Baroque. But then I get into punk rock, and that's a totally different thing. And I pick up a lot of bad habits as I'm playing a guitar that I still retain to this day, because I ended up significantly changing the type of music that I listen to, from these really complicated guitar riffs to things that are just power chords or fun pop punk riffs. I pick up the guitar, and it was really because my older brother Brad played, and he was a savant. And even though I started a little bit later, I was probably 14 years old when I first picked one up. I loved it. And I started plugging into my a beatbox, like what do you call those things? The old stereo system.
The home stereo thing? Yeah.
The old stereo that had the two speakers on the side, had a microphone input.
Yeah.
I would get an adapter for my guitar pedal, plug into that, and I would record stuff. And then I'd put two tapes together, and then I would record something on top of it. And I was trying to put together riffs basically as soon as I started picking up a guitar. Now, some of that stuff was terrible, but some of that stuff ended up being songs that I play today.
That's cool.
When I get into college, a lot of my free time, I'm playing. I had a Korg workstation, Trinity workstation, which was the one right before the Triton, which ended up becoming super popular. And at nights and on weekends, when I was by myself, I would just sit there all night long trying to come up with melodies and ideas. And I always found it fascinating trying to write music, but I was always just too scared to get out and do anything with it.
So you're one of the first people I know who had like recording software and stuff. Like we were still using like the big 16 track, like direct to hard drive or.
Oh yeah, the old Roland Works. What is that called? I remember those.
Yeah, we
direct
had
drive. It had a CD output and everything.
Yeah, we had one of the Tascam ones that we used, and it was
V Studio is what it was.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, just doing all that. So I was like, oh hey, you can go in there and do all this and like chop stuff up and like, all right.
Yeah, Digidesign, which was I mean, DigiDesign made Pro Tools, and they had this hardware for it. It's all under Avid now.
Yeah.
They had something, I gotta think it was called like an audiophile 2. It was something that I was able to connect to my computer that I would use for schoolwork and everything. And I was able to route things in there and get a really nice, clean sound. And then I want to say around 2003 or 2004, they released the M-Box, which brought home recording to like everybody.
Yeah.
It was a big, big thing for people. And getting to record with the M-Box was the first opportunity to really, I mean, do true at-home recording if you wanted to.
And you were in college at that time?
Yeah, I mean, from 2000 to 2004, I was at University of Texas at Austin, and just so much of my free time was spent like when you're learning this stuff and you're that age, I feel like it's like, oh, I can figure all of this out, and you get excited about it. You've got energy that I don't have anymore. I'm not learning anything new. And I just really enjoyed it. And every now and then I would get invited to go to a recording studio to see how they do things there, and I would pick up little things here and there. There was a company called Dallas Sound Labs that ran like classes to teach people how to get into production, mixing music, and I knew some folks who did stuff like that, both in Austin and in here and while I was in law school. And it was neat. It was a really neat setup. So with these friends that worked at whatever Dallas Sound Labs affiliated school, not necessarily in Dallas Sound Labs was just the name of it. It gave me an opportunity, like for example, the title track on Solutions, I recorded the vocal on that at a Dallas Sound Labs here in Houston.
That's cool, man. Like, yeah, it's just...
You've been doing this forever. Like, no wonder you're so good at recording.
The recording part of it was complicated because I ended up switching softwares. I found that Cakewalk at that time was easier to use than Pro Tools. Like, Pro Tools was complicated then and is complicated now. Cakewalk was much more straightforward, and so a lot of songs I like to just record it on there. And I wish that I had the equipment to like load up those computers and go back and see those tracks, because it would be fascinating to look at.
Yeah.
But you know, that being said, I was very much a studio artist. I didn't have it in me to get out and play live. I couldn't sing, or at least I didn't think I could sing. And I think I played the high school talent show at the end of high school doing Blink-182 Dumpweed. And that was it for my live performances in front of an audience until 2024.
Wow.
And the journey of getting there was a tough one. But to, wrap this all up in a bow, it gets to be 2004. I'm in law school. Sam and I have met, and I'm starting to put together like the songs that are good enough for a release. And I'm thinking, okay, I can create an album out of this. Let's just get what I've done out. Fast forward to 2006, 2007, as I'm about to finish law school, and I put together an album called Solutions, which is a collection of songs that had been recorded for basically the previous 6 years. And I think that I think I've got a few songs on there that are pretty good and still hold up. It's just because I was limited in the recording, I didn't have the knowledge that I have now, that if I could do it again today, it would be bigger and better. But I think it reflects that period of time for me really well.
Yeah, that's the point of records, man. Just have a document of where you're at. Because my deal is like, if each record, one of them's not better than the last one, at least more advanced, it's kind of like, oh, like we're stagnant now. Like you want to be like, okay, this album sounds better. This album's better, like technically or even sound quality wise. Like it's good to keep growing.
You can hear a lot of fear in that album for me. Auto-tune on a lot of songs, and that's just self-consciousness about getting in front of a microphone and singing. And it's that being said, like I play these songs live now and they sound different. They've got a different life to them just because you don't get auto-tune on stage, I guess, unless you're like a super big act and they'll arrange that for you. But
right.
You buy that real expensive pedal. I've heard it.
Right. Oh, I've got that pedal, and it does not work for me. I tried that.
Really?
At one point. Huh. So I get that album out, and MySpace is a big deal at the time.
Yeah.
And it was so great for artists, and it blew my mind, the reception that it got. So the two best songs objectively from the album are Shine and Solutions. And they would have charts on MySpace going all the way super local to state to national to global. And the Texas charts, I could see that my songs were climbing. And for a couple days, my song Shine was the number one independent song in Texas. And independent for MySpace purposes just meant that you're not on a record label.
Right. Wow. So let's see. MySpace was what, 2009, 10, 8?
It's got to be 2000, 2008, 2000.
Yeah, I was really going for by about 2004 to about, it really started losing ground like 2010, 2011.
I'm sorry, it is 2007. Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely that this particular thing happened. I remember they had as I'm looking back on it, they had this thing where you pick your top friends.
Heck yeah.
And,
Oh, yeah.
like,
Your top 8.
Some of my friends would be like haggling for, hey, why am I not number one?
Right. I
And
think
it's
we all
like,
have that
all right,
problem.
everybody simmer down. It's not a competition who can be the top friend. And of course, it is.
There's
It
always
is. I was
Tom.
gonna say,
There's
yeah,
always
it is.
Tom anyway.
And through that, I ended up getting an invitation from a band out of Austin. They're an incredible band. They probably don't even remember this, but in the event they do, cool. They're called Pompeii, and they were playing a venue called Walters on Washington
Oh, yeah.
here in Houston. And they reached out to me, I'm assuming because of those charts, and said, hey, if you're interested, we'd love to have you open for us. It'd be great if you could get one of those things, like if you could push local tickets, that's awesome. And they're still a band I listen to this day. They're incredible. They ended up doing an Audio Tree session. Do you know when I say Audio Tree?
Yeah.
God, I love their stuff. They're so good. They did a session on there that I highly recommend people go check out. They're a wonderful band, one of the best and different bands outside of Texas. In the state of Texas. And a song recommendation would be Numbers.
What was the name of the band again?
Pompeii.
Pompeii.
And so I had to come up with songs to play out of my catalog, people to play it with, and basically do all the work to do something that I had never done before. And the first guy I call is Samuel Bart.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. This is long before we met. So
Oh, yeah.
tell me all about it.
He was game. The thing is anything that's ever come up with anything I'm ever doing, Sam is just always game for whatever. So chill about stuff. And he had experience playing live, and I did not. But for me, it was like a dream. Like the thought of being on stage and performing and sharing that moment and being the center of attention. It was always fascinating to me, but I didn't think I could ever do it. But yeah, Sam was one of the members, and then there were two others that were going to join us, and then a third who ended up being in Youngblood Hawk, who was going to join us. But it ended up being unnecessary. It did not happen because we had hurricane come through. We had just gotten, I want to say maybe 3 practices in.
Yeah.
And they were going all right. Like, it was fine, I guess. I was trying to translate the songs directly. I wanted to play them as they sounded on the record, which I learned later is not really possible with all of the layers of the keyboards and stuff like that I would put on songs. And I think that if I had done that, it would have probably ended up crushing my spirit permanently and prevented me from getting on stage ever again. Granted, it took quite a while longer for me to actually get on stage and do it, but I was absolutely unprepared. I had too much anxiety about it. I was worried way too much about the vocal. This is how I ended up getting the voice live pedal. I was like, maybe I can use this as a crutch. The playing the guitar and singing at the same time, I could do one or the other, not both. And
That's hard.
It was just, it was a lot. And that came and went. I don't know what ended up happening with their tour, but they never reached back out about doing another thing. And then there was a long hiatus in music where maybe I would put out something here or there, but I just was taking a break. And it took about until 2018 for something to resurface.
Yeah, because I remember coming by a few times and working on things, and again, we'd get like, all right, we got all the music for it. Or they'd be like, oh, we're going to add drums. And then it would be like 2 years later. Dude, when are we going to get back to that? Like, I don't even know where that file's at, man. Like,
Yeah, the music can be really defeating at times when you lack the inspiration to go forward, or you just sometimes you lose the time. At that particular time, I was so overworked, incredibly stressed that, and look, grateful for it. I mean, that was a time where we were in economic recession, and lucky to have work and be overworked, but. I don't know. I just kind of got away from music, got into doing some other things outside of work, and yeah.
doing ball stuff.
I think
Doing
that
law
happens.
stuff.
Yeah. That can overtake your whole life.
Yeah, it's a little bit.
Which is kind of like, Kim has a similar thing. Like, she grew up singing and doing stuff, and then when she moved to Houston and went to work, it was like,
Oh, I have a life now. I don't have time for that.
Right.
Also, I just moved to a new city and I don't know anyone, who sings or plays so it just kind of all went by the wayside for a little while. And
Wait, where are you from?
I'm from Port Neches,
And where is that?
like Beaumont area.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I moved here about 2003. Yeah, 2003.
so so it's that kind of, man, life gets in the way. I mean, that's really how it goes. I mean, shit. I mean, when I had
Kids, yeah.
it was like, well, that's over. Sell everything and like not gonna be doing this till they hit about 5, and it's like, oh, they're little human beings. Like they can come and be a part of this too.
Right.
So you kind of get
Yeah.
that point where like, it's over, and then be it job or anything, it reaches that point.
Yeah, you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, I think I filled a big part of the void of making music by doing photography with you, like going out, shooting the shows. Like,
Yeah.
that was a big part. In fact, I would say that was really instrumental in probably me coming back to music, because a lot of my friends are in the industry and ended up becoming huge famous acts, and that ended up giving me access to a lot of shows going. And I mean, I got to shoot Taylor Swift, Carrie Underwood, Justin Timberlake. I shot Imagine Dragons at House of Blues. Like,
Nice.
Imagine Dragons playing House of Blues, probably Energy Stadium, maybe,
Right,
if they were
yeah.
playing here. A lot of really cool things, and I would say 90% of the artists I met along that journey were so incredibly nice and thoughtful. The ones that would take the time to sit down and be like, "Hey, grab a guitar, hang out, chill." Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Got to meet people at the radio stations. I would travel. I went to Seattle, covered shows there. I did Snow Patrol and one half of Oasis. What was that? Noel Gallagher and the
High
Flying Birds. Yep.
Yeah. And that was a really cool show. Basically, if something with work intersected with fun work, I would bring them both together. Like, I'd always check Polestar, see who's playing. Like, I'll cover that show.
Oh man, good old Polestar. That was a great website.
I know, and it's. I still check it occasionally when we're touring.
They do,
to be like-
yeah. It gets
but
maintained.
it's still weird. Like, it's not the same.
No.
I think it's like you have to be a way higher level now to make it onto there.
I remember we would just use it to like figure out who was going to be playing festivals, because you could look at a band's tour and be like,
Right.
oh, they're going to be in Houston around the time Free Press Summerfest is coming. Hasn't been announced yet, but I'm looking at the dates.
But occasionally the band would have it like their booking agent would put like they're playing Houston, TBA, and you're like, oh, they're going. Yeah, they used to be fun. To
Yeah,
check.
that was
Somebody there's always one person who lets it slip, and you're like,
yeah. See, these kids don't understand. Like, that was the good stuff. We had to mine for it.
Right.
I got to do a couple years covering South by Southwest, and
That'd be fun.
And both instances, I was basically shadowing a band. I shadowed Shiny Toy Guns.
Oh, nice.
Love them. One of my all-time favorite bands. I wish they would make more music. They're all incredibly sweet people. And then the other being Youngblood Hawk, which these are like my friends from high school, and just, I mean, the guy who was the drummer for Youngblood Hawk, Nick Hughes, is now the drummer for Bush, and he does all the drums on all the songs that I'm gonna have coming out. That's cool. Like,
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it is.
Incredible relationships that, were built through that. Like, if I wasn't out there shadowing Youngblood Hawk, I would know all the other guys, but I wanted to become friends with Nick, and he's salt of the earth. He's such a sweet guy, family guy. Everything about that guy, he's just so incredibly kind. Like when I was creating the songs that I've got in the catalog now that I'm about to gradually start pushing out, I kind of was just talking to him about advice generally, and he was like, I mean, I'll do the drums. And it's like, what? You really? So it's like,
Well, I remember the first time he did something for you, being like, dude, the drum machine's fine. I mean, it sounds great. I don't know what. And then it was like, oh yeah, the real drum, like the live drum sounds so much better.
It works.
Okay, what do I know? Okay, just shut up, me.
It's not the same, Sam.
yeah, he's I'm really grateful for him. Drums well done can really bring life to a song, or take a song that's not super dynamic and make it dynamic. He has an ability to do all of the above, and then just on top of that, an incredible human being, like they all are. And Youngblood Hawk has taken I would say, hiatus from music. They're all still friends and in the same general area. It's just life. Like they're all doing different things in business. Tasso, who's one of my friends from that period, he's doing a solo project himself under the name Tom Sawyer, and it's kind of an acoustic pop folk, I would describe it, but it is so catchy. He's incredibly talented, and he was just one of the guitarists for the band. Simon Katz was, I think, the primary songwriter for the band, and he does like executive stuff now, record company executive stuff, like copyrights on music and stuff like that. They're just all good people, and I appreciate getting to see them, behind the scenes, backstage, going on stage, all of that process of seeing things, how things work. One of the things I learned from that, some people really have a taste for these in-ear monitors, and I'm never going to be the guy that likes in-ear monitors. I like a monitor on the stage pointed at me.
Yeah.
Or somewhere near me. No monitoring
feeling
is even fine, unless I have effects. But if it's just me and an acoustic, I don't need a monitor. If it's me and acoustic and I've got effects going, light monitoring. But sticking something in my ear, the vocal that comes out when I've got something
very
in my
different,
ear,
isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
Because you do hear two different voices. You hear that inner head voice, and then you hear like what you actually sound like. And there's a bit of disconnect. Like, I mean, I'm wearing like a headphone now.
Yeah. That inner voice is going, you sound terrible.
Well, and it literally doesn't sound the same.
Yeah.
Every time we can be in the car driving home after a show, and someone will post something on, Facebook or TikTok, whatever, and we're seeing it, that was us live.
Yeah, and Kim's normally in the car like, man, I blew this song tonight.
It was terrible. I did not do that well. And then I hear it, and I'm like, it was fine.
Yeah.
What did I hear that,
Believe me, we would tell you if it was bad.
I know we would.
I had one of those moments. So I record all the shows that I play now so that I can go back and assess what I did right, what I did wrong. And I had done one where I was like, that was a disaster. And I didn't even want to listen back to it. I'd skip over it on the video. Mm-hmm. And then I listened to it. I'm like, damn, it actually sounds good. Like, I didn't understand, like, what was I hearing that I thought that was so bad? There was like nothing clumsy about it at all. And there were things that I thought sounded good. And it's like, oh man, that did not come out good on the other side of this. Mm-hmm. But that's all part of the journey. Like, that's what's been fun,
It's kind of one of those things like how time slows down for you, because it's like, oh my God, like I forgot that word in the song.
Yes.
There was like 40 seconds, like, realistically, you're like, dude, it took a long time.
Whoa.
And then when you listen, you're like, I didn't even miss like an entire beat. Like I came in like a 1/10 of a second too late. It's fine. Like,
but it's like we talked in the last episode, like when, like we've repeated it, like the second verse in chorus 2 shows in a row. No one out there knew. The 3 of us did, because we wrote the song and we're like, wait, there's not a third verse like that before the bridge, and so we're just like, oh no, they know we're hacks. They're like, and they don't. They're
I
like,
have no idea.
Yeah, they just because the average person is just in awe that people have the guts to get up there and do it, and then they're good at it. Like, this is amazing.
Yeah,
I think that's the fun part about it.
I'm curious, since we have 2 concert photographers here. New information. Did not know that, by the way. I'm curious how long it took you to start seeing those signals between bands, like when you're photographing them on stage. Because, you go from being an audience member who doesn't see, you just see bands, to like seeing these big professional bands, and you're looking at everything they're doing.
I've got an answer.
Yeah.
I want Sam to answer first. Okay. I picked up on something that drives me insane.
there's stuff, honestly, it was pretty early on when you started noticing, like, you don't audibly hear a lot of the mistakes people make, but you do start seeing everybody kind of look over at the one dude who kind of like laughs, or they kind of do that. I mean, I remember seeing the Foo Fighters one time at like Astro Arena, and I think that was right when Chris Shiflett joined.
Had just joined, yeah.
And I think he had like messed something up, and you could see like everyone else on stage just kind of look over at him, and he just kind of shrugged. And like, if that had not happened, no one on the audience realized it happened. They were just all kind of jamming out on stage because, you know, no one's singing. And when he did the kind of it sounded cool, but to them it's like that's not how the song usually goes. Right. So they all kind of look over and kind of make this like face.
It's the looks.
New guy's not getting paid tonight.
How people look on stage.
Okay.
So I'm going to bifurcate my answer between big acts.
Whoa. Back it up.
Sorry. Split
I
into two.
just started working for a lawyer. I don't know all the words yet.
Right. Dude, I teach a hobby, bro. You got a little more water in that, please.
I got the snort laugh. Oh, yeah. Giggity. There's two different types. It depends on if it's a really big act or a small act. And some of the small acts even do this. But a lot of bands play to a track. You are watching karaoke at best on a lot of these.
Oh, how
and what
depressing.
I found is that a lot of live music isn't really live music. Especially being that close. Generally, you get the first 3 songs. A lot of the stuff I got access for the whole show.
Yeah.
But you can spot it out. I would say almost every major touring act that's playing a big venue does it to some degree because they really have to now. If you use it minimalistically, it's going to make your sound better, and it's not going to really detract any from the live performance. But you could go see some act that almost nothing is live, and it takes me out of it big time.
Yeah.
It's depressing. I pay a lot of money.
The thing that will take me out of it more than any other is if I hear a guitar lead that is on a backing track and not being played live.
Right. I agree with that.
Put the rhythm on the backing track and play the lead live. And I never thought I'd see it, but it's become so common.
Yeah, I remember the first time I actually experienced that. It was mid 2000s at the Engine Room, and the band Trapped had just had that single that hit, and I was kind of like, okay, I'll go check this band out. And my buddy owned the venue, so I was like, cool, I'm not gonna pay $20 to see a band, whatever. So I go and I'm side stage, and I'm listening, and I'm hearing all this sound come out of the monitors, but on this, from the amp side, I'm not hearing anything. And if you've been side stage, like you hear the backside of a Fender 212, like the whole backside is just stone coming out of it.
Yeah.
And I'm hearing nothing. Like they didn't even have the amps running. They had them on. There was an actual light on, but they weren't even playing. Like that blew me away.
Yeah.
And like they all had in-ear monitors and stuff like this. I'm just like,
What do you need
in
to
the
monitor
world
if
is
you're
going on
tracking?
here? Like and Mitch, the owner, was like, yeah, when they were doing sound check, dude, he goes, I was like, this is embarrassing.
Okay.
Like who does this?
Well, it's like most, at least at the bare minimum, like a lot of these bands at least have clicks and usually something
triggers and things like that going
because
yeah.
that's how they cue up the lights. But yeah, a lot of them will have like, okay, and that's how they do it. You're playing to the click the whole time. It's like, well, we don't want to pay a keyboard player, so we're just going to have the keyboards coming at this point, augment certain things to make things sound bigger. Yeah, I mean that's just
and everyone kind of vilifies Ashley Simpson, because the whole Saturday Night Live snafu, and it's like, well, actually, that's just the industry standard. Someone screwed up on the tape.
Yeah,
that's all it was.
She got
drugged.
They did her dirty, man.
I mean, they made her the
because
scapegoat.
no one was. It's like the magician that fucked up and showed how the trick was done.
Yes,
and everyone's like, no. They just made a mistake. It's like no one wants you to see the illusion and realize everyone's doing that.
Right.
For pop singers, Ashley Simpson was legitimately talented.
Yeah, I thought she was good. She had good hooks and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's unfortunate what ended up happening to her. I mean, it was not a Milli Vanilli situation. She sang the song. It was her song. She was just having a vocal dub over the top of it. Obviously, her mic was live. She talked into it, but she did the jig, ran off stage, and it became a meme. And it's too bad because the thing is stuff like that happens regularly out in the wild where you're not on Saturday Night Live, and nobody's none the wiser to it. But not to say I think tracks are all bad. I would absolutely use a track with a full band because because I mean, like for example, my song "The Alpha and Omega" has over 100 tracks on it. We get 100 people on stage to play all 100 tracks. Like it's building a wall of sound. So I would pick out probably like 5 or 6 of the subtle sounds that couldn't be easily recreated. Put a click to it, and if you've got a good drummer who can hear the click and understand the triggers, everything else being played over live on top of it live. That's cool with me. Now, granted, I haven't had an opportunity to do that yet. I've just played live, real live with no tracks. But
well, I think a lot of it comes to if you're aware, like if you're aware it's happening. Kind of, we'll pull in a band that's safe to kind of pull into this kind of thing, like the Motley Crue thing.
Oh my gosh, dude, we're going there.
Nikki Sixx goes to like stop some dude who runs on
stage.
Right,
the bass
is still like, dude.
Right. Okay. But here's my question on that whole. I was hoping you would bring this up. So if you're okay doing that with the bass, then why are you not fixing Vince Neil's vocals? He's not even singing words at this point.
He never. If you look up videos of Motley Crue from '86, because people would know if the words were right. I mean, you just can't have it. Like
it's just syllables.
Just all of a sudden he's good at the words now. No,
no one would believe that. Everything else you're like, okay, yeah, like the music's probably still happening.
Vince is up there speaking in tongues.
He's like gets 65 and suddenly remembers the words and can sing in key. Like, no way. But it's kind of that, like, I think there's a difference between like, this band has like the dudes up there running. I mean, you go back to like seeing a band like Tomahawk or something that Mike Patton did. Like he would be up there with keyboards doing samples and adding weird sound effects. So you come to accept that if you're up front, like, hey, we're going to augment and we're doing these like, tapping the shit, having the danger of having it happen live makes it feel a little more like I'm going to do this in front of you, not like, all right, show starts, it's 8:01, play.
Well, see, that's thing I recently saw like a little bit of live excerpt from like a Black Keys concert. There's like a whole band now. Like they have like 2 extra guitarists plus a bass player. I'm like, whoa, when did we get? I thought there was just 2 guys, and they got a bass player for a minute. And now they got a whole other set of guitar players. Like, well, I mean, I guess if you look at how they record their stuff, it's not that just it's not just 2 tracks. Like there's so much going on. So I guess they've had to adapt to fill it out, because if it's just Dan and Patrick on stage, it's gonna be really thin sounding.
They want to hear those Ford commercials at their best.
Right. It's truck month, man.
Plus, then we start playing like giant stadiums. You can't have 2 dudes there.
No, it looks really weird. But the White Stripes did it.
I mean, I remember seeing them play after Dinosaur Jr. and it was like, that was so rough. Like, they were great. And, but it was like they sounded a quarter of the volume.
Right.
They weren't that quiet, but it just sounded after the oral assault.
Yeah, dude,
that was Dinosaur Jr. And they come out and it's like,
hey, guys.
It could have been like, Seals and Croft or something after that. Like, it could have just been like easy listening band.
Is Christopher Cross up there?
And it was like, wow.
Get out of my head.
Why would you not? Why would you let them go before you? The loudest band on earth.
We can switch those orders would be a better idea, I think.
But yes, that's a long-winded way of just saying, like, some of the weird things you see.
Yeah.
Going to live, there were points between, even 2, like, it was like 50, 60 shows a year covering as a photographer and shit. Like, it was wild.
I got to see a lot of good side of humanity. Like they say, don't meet your heroes. And I learned that in some cases that's true. Like there's one band I can think of right now. I'm not going to say their name here, but I'll tell you all after we're off air. But I love their music. Their shows are incredible. I was with them as they were leaving the venue, and fans were waiting outside the back of the venue, and they could not have been colder to the fans. And
how big were they at that time?
Huge.
Really?
Oh, that's a bummer.
I mean, they were playing House of Blues, but there was a sold out show at House of Blues. They were big.
So that's a lot of people.
You will know them when I say their name, but their name is not the point. It was just the wanting to keep the distance from the fans. Whereas, the Chameleons, they will walk amongst the people. Like, they finish a show, which, by the way, everything is played live. And Mark Burgess will walk right on out to the venue, go walk around, talk to people, shake hands, hug people, kiss people, sign autographs. Wow. I apologize. He now goes by Vox, but Vox, formerly known as Mark Burgess. And he's just a wonderful, sweet human being. Young Bloodhawks, same way. Those people go out amongst the people. Shiny Toy Guns, Cara Faye, Jeremy Dawson, Chad Petrie. They were of the people. And And even going back, Blink-182, like they would go wander around. Like when they were doing Warped Tours, they just went and wandered around amongst
I was going to bring that up because we did, BuzzFest one year and Boxcar Racer played it. And Tom DeLonge was just like hanging out at the side stage watching all the bands. He wanted to see like H2O and stuff. So
that's
he was just
cool.
like, he's over there like just shaking people's hands like, hey, what's up, guys? Just hanging out.
Gosh, you got to see Boxcar Racer.
Yeah.
Wow. I am so jealous right now in this moment. Just for the listeners, I think Tom DeLonge is one of the best single songwriters in history. He has an uncanny ability to write things that end up smash hits on the radio. And you may or may not like his music personally, but the results speak for themselves. He's got a ton of platinum and gold singles.
Yeah.
Just like catchy. Yeah, dude. Right.
Still think his best band was Angels and Airwaves, and that's a personal opinion. But
I agree.
Those songs, like I played it for Trey. He's 16.
Now I know the name.
And man, he was just like, dude, Dad, this is killer.
Well, for Blink-182, he was the.
I know.
And he couldn't, and Trey couldn't believe that was Tom from Blink, because he likes Blink-182. He's always liked Blink-182.
Yeah.
I was like, no, that's Tom. He goes, that can't be the same guy. I was like,
I'm
it is.
fascinated by this. Yeah, like I am surprised by your opinion, but I do not even feel like it's a controversial one. I think objectively, Angels and Airwaves is the better band.
Yeah.
Because the songwriting on it is totally different. It's a serious project, unlike Blink makes a serious amount of money, but Angels and Airwaves communicates maybe a more serious message. Yeah, totally agree. Right on, man.
We became best friends.
Blink's one of those tough things.
Sorry, Sam.
No, where you start a band at like 16 and you're suddenly 36 and you're like,
we can't change it now.
Like, this sucks.
Yeah, dude.
More Dick songs. Like, okay.
Well, yeah, because when I remember Blink did "Miss You," like that's a great song, but it was such a left field turn that people were like, there was a lot of people like, I didn't sign up for this.
Right.
But Trey, my 16-year-old, that's his favorite Blink-182 song.
It's just funny to see how the next generation does that. That was I brought this up the other day. We listened to Bruce Dickinson's autobiography, and he talked about that, like when Brave New World came out. And he's like, we're playing all these new songs, like people. He goes, but I felt like a new generation had found us. We weren't worried about the dudes who've been listening to us since '86. Like they had 20 years to hear these songs, or since like '81. So like they had all this time. Like we're playing the stuff for the people who just found us. You're going to get the old songs in there somewhere. Right. We're also going to play a lot of the songs for the people who just found us. So I think it's kind of cool to hear that Trey's like, well, I actually started with their later stuff. And then it's like, your stuff's okay. And then everyone our age is like, what are you talking about, dude? Like,
that's not real. This is
Dick
real
songs.
stuff.
Josie was the best song ever.
Oh my God, that is my favorite song by them.
I know these names, but I cannot really not place them.
And I didn't really see us going down Blink-182 hall tonight.
No, I really didn't see that coming. Like, this is good.
I think the first thing I said was I played Blink-182 Dumpweed at a high school talent show.
Yeah.
Brought it all the
I
way
think I'm
back.
coming to find out that Tom DeLonge has been a big influence
in
over
your
my
musical
life.
endeavors.
And what's crazy is that I've never really had any interaction with Tom DeLonge. I know that when we were at the Warped Tour in 98 or 99 or something, our group of people interacted with him and Mark, but I did not engage in the interaction. I was just standing there for it. So
I was always a fan of bands that actually took the time to like talk to people and be friendly. Or if people got back in the backstage, they'd be like, hey, what's up, dude? Not just like,
get out of here,
you're bothering me. There were a few bands that fortunately they weren't bands I was like into, but that were just like, you're bad people.
Yeah, I mean, and it's also one thing, like if you're at like a festival and the other people aren't hounding that person, they're usually cool. Like, you know what I mean? Like there's sometimes you can tell, like it's just they've been inundated with a lot of people, and I get it.
Yeah, or you're tired, but it's just that kind of just being like, no.
Yeah, exactly. Just walk away, kid.
Mm-hmm.
But, well, all right, enough of all that. We're going to jump.
I have a question.
We can weave it in. Go on.
No, I was going to say, what was the driving factor that got you deciding that now is the time to get out and play live?
That was my question.
Because we didn't even talk about that. You were just like, man, I went and played this open mic. I went out and did it. And I was like, huh?
Actually, I didn't even
concerts?
say that. So in doing all of those various things in that off period, one funny story that we talked about off air that we have not yet gotten to on air occurred during that period. But in, I want to say 2017, I was clearing out a computer because I was getting a new machine, and I have hundreds of songs that I've written and done nothing with except get them to the point where they're like 3/4 finished and then goodbye. And I was listening to some of the ones that I guess I would say I had most recently done, even though it had been a few years. And I had a song, Black Fire, Blue Eyes. And it was just an instrumental piano part. It was like really engaging for me to listen to the point where I was like, I am going to write this song out and I am going to get it released ASAP. And that was the song that created this new style of writing, and it became what is now the Alpha and the Omega. It was the beginning and the end because I felt like I was starting over. Nick Hughes came in and put in a killer job on drums. I've filled out with lush violin and cello and lots of guitar parts. And like I said, the song has tons and tons of tracks. But on that day, I heard that one piano track and I'm like, I can do something with this. I did it. I got it out. And I started kind of talking to Sam a little bit more regularly about, okay, tell me about what you do. You know, you're getting out and playing live. Like I need to get some songs together first, maybe figure out how to reinterpret some of the stuff I previously written. And I started working on a song that I was calling Zodiac. And Zodiac ended up turning into A Lie, which was the first song that I had released with vocals on it in, I don't know, 10 years at least, maybe even more. And that was a dramatic departure because if you listen to the stuff earlier and then you listen to Alive, my voice has really changed. I started taking vocal lessons here and there just to try and learn some techniques, and then I'll try to apply them. But more than anything, it was trying to become comfortable in my own skin. And I came to find out that I didn't have the voice that I wanted to have. I had a different voice that I didn't know I had. And so it's not the voice that I wanted, but it's the voice that I had. And I found it out by doing Tina Turner karaoke. And
Simply the best.
I'm your private dancer.
It was simply the best.
Was it?
My lovely wife, who you all know, she was really encouraging. She's an artist, and she's an incredibly talented artist. Like, when I say artist, her artistry is very broad, from painting to pictures to design. Her mind is very much an artistic mind. And she would, be doing painting or something like that. And I'm like, God, this is beautiful. Like, look at what you created. And then I'm like, I need to create something. And I can't paint, but I can play the guitar. So she was really big and, encouraging me to get back to it, do more with it. And I guess what I'll say is that I have compiled in the time since about 2020 to now about 50 new songs that I am working through and going to eventually release out one by one. In the hopper now, I've got 10. And the question is, how do I release them? In what order do I release them? So a song that I have to release right now that you guys have heard me play live before. In fact, anybody that has ever seen me perform live, there was only one song that I performed at every single show, and it is this song. It is called Ya Ya. And it is definitely the best song that I've ever recorded. And it sounds amazing. It has all the drums. It has everything done. I am just been dragging my feet because of the vocal. Like, I've already had it this long. I want to have it as perfect as I can have it. And I'm glad that I waited, because I'm going to go back to explain the live show thing. But to finish this point, I found that by going out and singing it live and performing it, over the past 12 months, I've now done 15 live performances. It helped me become more acclimated to the song to a point that I wouldn't ever get in a studio, that is going to make it, as I'm processing this final vocal take, that it's going to end up being a better song as a result. So that's going to be the first one that's going to come out. I redid Solutions. It has full orchestra now. Again, Nick on drums. It sounds really cool. I have on Instagram a small little clip that you can kind of hear all of that. And it's neat. Like, Solutions was a good song, and I wanted to just I wanted to at least take one of those songs from that album where nothing was big and make it big. And I figured it would be that one. And then a bunch of others. Okay, what convinced me to get out and perform live? And it's pretty simple. It's you and it's Nick and my wife. as I was talking to y'all about this stuff, it's like, go out and get reps. And it never occurred to me that I could do that. And I'm like, okay, well, how do I go out and get reps? Is the first question. And you were like, just go to an open mic, man. And that's a scary thing to do by yourself. And I researched the open mics in town. There was Avant Garden. I went and I watched Avant Garden. Not impressed. I went and watched at Mucky Duck. I was pretty impressed. And I ultimately ended up deciding, okay, I'm just going to go take my acoustic guitar to Mucky Duck and see what happens. And I would say that my first performance went about as perfect as it possibly could have gone. I was so scared. I was shaking. My hands were like trembling with fear as I was on stage. It kind of went away over time, but it's an experience that I will really appreciate. And it's almost like a year ago now that happened. And now I can get up and go out and perform on very little practice, and I can feel better than I did that day. But it was uniquely cathartic to be able to do that, because it's, you know, when I was a kid, this is my dream. Like, go out, play music in front of a live audience and have people actually want to hear you. And I never did it. I would still dream about it. I would still dream about being on the stage, have an audience there. And it's like, you can dream about it all you want, but none of that's ever going to happen if you don't go and buy your lottery ticket and get in the game.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I did that. And I did a few more, and I started to flesh out how I wanted the live sound to go. I started bringing a looping board. The first looping board was too big, so I sized it down. That one was also still too big, and so I recently sized it down again. But I think I got it to a point where I really like it. My voice is never going to be the voice that I wanted to have, but it's like, I'm happy with my voice. I can sing in tune, except for for some reason, the first lyric on a live, when I sing that live, a lot of time it's like so far out of key, and then everything else is in key, but
okay, that's been happening to me recently.
Fly!
It has. And you know what? I'll just give you my solution, what I do. I step back away from the mic as Sam's playing his intro, and I sing that first line.
Yeah.
So that I don't come out. Yeah, because for some reason my voice can't find the note on this one song. So,
What song is it?
the new one, Still See You Here.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that song is so good.
That's a fun song to play.
But every time I hit that first note,
Sounds like a croak.
it's a frog note. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know why.
I'm glad to know that I'm not the only one
No.
that experiences something like that.
You're not. And the other thing I will tell you from what you were just talking about, the more that you sing, even if it's just around the house, like your voice will get better. It's a muscle.
Yeah.
It's so unique. That Tina Turner thing was no joke. Like, once I discovered that my voice, I've always been trying to sing more softly and with like a lower tone, and what I discovered through doing the Tina Turner karaoke by chance is that my voice does better with power, and that was something I would have never known. And a lot of times, I'll still get on stage, and there are some songs that are just quieter because that's the way those songs were written. But the newer things, especially as I get more comfortable playing them live, I put as much power as I can into them on stage. And I will say, I owe a lot to you guys for including me in so much. The Houston music scene is loaded with a lot of incredible talent. And there are two things. One, I wish so much I had started this sooner. I wish that I had gotten out while I was, in my 20s at least, and really given it a go, because I've learned stuff playing live that I would have never learned in the studio. Adam Ash, he gave me a chance to play live and do a show, and I was so stoked about that. It happened because Sam took me to a song circle, and I'm at the time, so that's August, I don't know, I'm like 7 months into having done some performances. The night before the show, I fall and I have a tibia plateau fracture, and it's bad. Like, I'm supposed to be immobilized. I don't know it yet because I haven't had the MRI yet, but this is the night before the show. But this is my first build show where I am an act on the bill. And there's just no way in hell I'm missing the show. And so I show up there the next day, incredibly grateful for the experience. And I think it ended up making it so that my first show had a cooler story that I could take with me the rest of my life. That of course something like that happens. I break my leg and I show I can't go to the doctor today because my show is today. So
he's gonna tell me bad news. I don't want to hear that.
I knew something was wrong with my leg. I was convinced that it was torn ACL because I had like no mobility. I couldn't put any weight on the leg, but I got all my stuff set up on stage. I found a good way to lean, and I felt like that performance was great. Like I was really pleased with how it came out. So many people came out to support me for that show. Like that was a great turnout. I was so grateful for that experience. I recorded all of that, took in the information of what I did well, what I didn't do well, and then you all invited me to headline at Union Tavern, and I said, "Don't be ridiculous." And of course, y'all are playing last. I will open. And that was a lot of fun too. Like getting in reps anywhere I can get in reps is something I'm just grateful for. And I really like to go out to the open mics to try new stuff. I'm in love with Do-Si-Do right now. The Do-Si-Do whiskey bar in the Woodlands area. Yeah. It's up 45. It's a drive. Everybody there is cool. Their sound guy is cool, Gavin. Their wait staff is cool. The audience is cool. It's totally different from the experience that I get at the Mucky Duck. I love those people. I show up and he's like, "Can you play 5 songs?" I'm like, "Sure, no problem." I get 4 in, they realize, "Oh, your songs are like 8 or 9 minutes long." Yeah, 4 songs is good.
I forgot.
But yeah, like it's so cool how welcoming the scene has been, and we've got a lot of young people, particularly young country acts that, I think are going to end up doing huge things, and gosh, they're in a good place for it. I obviously am a bit of a unique bird. I've been welcomed with open arms by the folk scene when I am decidedly not folk music, and I think that that's super cool that these people let me in. Like I just did Song Circle this week. It's all a group of folk musicians going around in circle with their acoustic guitars playing their songs, and then it gets to me, the goth ambient guy, which I now definitely have a little bit of folk influence in my music. And they just couldn't be kinder to me. Like Ed Amash and Ted, really grateful for those guys because they were the first ones that asked me, like, come play live.
Yeah, that's cool, man. Yeah. Get out there. Well, all right, man. We're going to go ahead and move on to the last questions.
Here it comes.
Clips in the hour.
Already. Wow.
So we ask all of our musicians folks who come in to recommend a podcast, a book, and a song or artist or album that they feel is important for people to listen to. So I'll let you go with that.
Okay, I would say pick any NPR podcast. Stay up with current events. They do a pretty good job of whether, if you look at it from the Family Guy perspective of whining about things or telling you what's going on, whichever perspective you have on it, you can learn something by listening to that. The book is going to be Shawn Michaels, Heartbreak and Triumph. Yes, I am talking about the WWE superstar.
The Shawn Michaels?
The Shawn Michaels, the Heartbreak Kid.
That's Shawn Michaels.
The book is not a lot about wrestling, but a lot about overcoming addiction and battling personal demons and coming out the other side of it. And hearing it from a professional wrestler, it gives it a little bit of a fun side because they have so many stories from being on the road. It's a lot like a musician. He tells a great story. Shawn Michaels was my hero as a kid because I was a professional wrestling nerd, and I think he's the greatest of all time. I will play his music occasionally live. Sexy Boy.
Great song.
Yeah, it is a great song. Yeah, I should have come. If I could have entrance music in my life, like as I enter a room, I would want something like that. Yeah.
Solid.
There you go.
Solid.
What was the last thing?
Musical recommendation.
Yeah, the musical recommendation has to be the Chameleons or the Chameleons UK. They're active now. They have a new album coming out, the first new album in like 20 years. And then, before that, it was like almost another 20 years. Mark Burgess and Reg Smithies.
I'm sorry.
That is the most
Dishwasher.
obnoxious dishwasher ever.
It's not a dishwasher, it's a dishwasher.
If you decide to cut it, that's cool. If not, we can just move right through. But what I was going to say, the Chameleons. Mark Burgess and Reg Smithies, the original members, are still there. They now have Stephen Rice and Todd. Look, this is a band that they are the number one influence on me. As something we didn't get to talk about was during COVID, they didn't have shows to play. They came and played in my living room. And
I remember we were there.
You all came over to the house and got to see the Chameleons live in my
Very
living
cool.
room. Like,
Yeah.
greatest day of my life in terms of seeing a band perform live.
I don't
because
think you stopped smiling the whole day.
that was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. They got over to my house and it was like, they never left. They did a sound check, and a sound check was this, just hanging out for 4 hours playing songs. And then after everybody left, Mark and I just sat on the guitar playing even longer, and the night just went on.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Again, another cool thing that you guys
Yeah.
got to be around for. So the Chameleons are, for me, the most influential band. I'm wearing their shirt now.
Nice.
When I perform live, I always have a sticker on my guitar. I don't shout out any band when I perform live except for either Brightwire with a shirt, or on the guitar, it's always just going to be the Chameleon sticker. So yes, the Chameleons, for two reasons. One, super influential on me, and two, they have a new album coming out next month.
Nice.
Right on, man. Well, all right. I guess anything you'd like to add? Or?
Yeah, I want to say that thank you to all of you. I mean, you have been particularly helpful to me through, like, not just music stuff. You've just been an awesome friend, and I'm grateful to you. We've been through some life changes together.
Oh, yeah. A lot of life.
And this has been fun, and I'm really grateful to you for the encouragement that you've given me and showing up and saying, hey, this is what you did right, this is what you did wrong. Like, that's helpful to me. You've been, even though we're like the same damn age, you've been like a big brother to me. But nevertheless, thank you to you guys for having me.
Oh, man. Thanks for coming.
Aw. Could you guys get a room, please?
Right. All right, Kim.
Bye.
All right, y'all, that does it for this week's episode of Music in the Minor League. We hope you enjoyed our discussion with Robert. We had a lot of fun hanging out and talking music and getting way off the beaten path, but that's kind of how it's supposed to go on here. Talking about independent music, what brought you here, the whole thing. We're going to leave you with one more song from Stars and Satellites. This one's called The Alpha and the Omega. See you in 2 weeks. Later.